Welcome to the Ausgel podcast, where we bring the gel ball community together. Each week we have a special guest where we talk about what's new in the world of gel ball, be it milsim, speedball, and everything in between. Now, welcome to our host. Hi, I'm Dan from Ausgel.
Dale from Valhalla's Keepers.
Tristan from Valhalla's Keepers.
And today I'm joined by two sponsored competitive players from the gel ball world of Australia. All right, gents, thanks for coming up. I know you've driven quite a long way. Where did you come from?
Bowen Hills. So just in the city at the moment.
Yeah?
I was Southside, Pollara.
Far out. Okay, so yeah, you're committed, so appreciate that. And for those that don't know, at the moment, it's actually 3 p.m, so these gents get to go back through peak hour traffic.
Yes.
Be glorious.
I didn't even think about that.
Awesome.
I thought it was peak hour when I was coming here.
There you go, guys. All right, well, yeah, there's a pineapple for you. Now, speaking of pineapples, let's talk about the competitive scene at the moment in the industry. Valhalla's Keepers, you guys have dominated so many competitions over previous months. You've done exceptionally well. What's it like out there at the moment? What's the talent like? Oh, here we go, the tickets. Yeah.
It's getting stronger and stronger all the time.
It is.
From when we first started, we're just starting to get a few memories over the last probably 2 months or so where we first started and we had no idea. Bought a lot of the gear and we used to walk around saying, all the gear, no idea. But when we first started actually getting into the Speed QB style stuff, the communication wasn't very strong for other teams, and that now we're finding the level is increasing because they're starting to mimic the comms. Everyone's loud on the field. And I know so many people are worried about having specific calls and stuff like that, but you can't hear what the other team's saying.
No.
You barely hear what the person who's telling you what to do is saying. So
Yeah. I think the levels really stepped up over the past, basically since I joined. The first comp I ever played was at Gel City with you guys. And I was privileged. First comp to ever play, we ended up winning, which was an absolutely awesome experience. And then ever since then, it's really like it's like all the teams have kicked it into overdrive.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fun. It's good. You get to work things out.
You see, I tend to think that, we're probably going to see more of that progression in the industry as well, because when I think back to when I was still playing with the Slop Raiders, back then, we won the first ever league in Australia. There were like 3 teams playing and every player on both teams were like 30, 40-year-olds, not fit, just so very, very different world. But but it's funny now because what I've seen over the past few years is just as more and more people get involved in the sport, the level of fitness, level of skill, everything just seems to get bigger and bigger.
The flag runner's a specimen.
yes.
And, and I'm sure you guys see that, but now I'm starting to see this thing with flag runners and anchors where you've got people who might not be slow but have monstrously beastly builds playing pillars up the back. And then you've got the tiny little nimble midgets, sorry if that offends anyone, racing forward for the flag. I mean, is that what you're seeing across most teams?
100%. And especially since Gel City introduced Australian Speedball League, and made so much emphasis on first flag grab. It's all about speed and durability, because a lot of the flag runners are going down with injuries and stuff like that, trying to compete with it.
They hit that X with so much force.
We've been very fortunate for our Gel City comp. Our flag runner's been one of the best. I know we started off early versus Aussie Elite in one of our earlier matches, making it into the grand final. And
tough matchup.
Coming up against Dane and Tom and stuff like that.
Good team.
They've definitely spoken highly of Corey, our flag runner, for that. So, but yeah, having the guys that stay at the back pillars and do their job, and having a nimble, agile flag runner is definitely key in that particular league.
It's kind of scary just from the 3v3 previous weekend. Like, you see the Fresh Ops flag runner, he jumped in with MDK Raptors, and in between rounds, I think he was doing laps up and down the street to stay warm.
Yeah.
It's like there's me, the picture of health and fitness, just sitting down like, oh my god, dude, slow down.
You're wearing me out.
You're wearing me out.
I'm just looking at you. Yeah, I love it.
So there's a lot more, like as you said, like athleticism.
Yeah. And what I think adds to all of that as well is I've noticed even just watching, Real Strike Arena and Gelsoft Australia as well. I've noticed there's a few paintballers there that I remember from, they've attended AGBL and other events that are now playing gel ball, and you're seeing the likes of HK Army come across. So, typically, some of these paintballers who have had years of experience, who are already used to this sort of a sport, when they come in, it sort of drives that competition up even more. And it's one of the coolest things I've found with you guys is you keep up. As the change is coming, you're continuously adapting and sort of overcoming, I guess.
I think trying to compete in as many leagues as we could has definitely kept us as growing. Everything's ever changing, different rule sets. You've always got to... you've got different teams that are more competitive at different arenas and fields and stuff like that. So we've always got to watch what they're doing.
Do you find that leads to burnout at all with players, where you've got multiple competitions running at the same time?
That's what we're going to look at for next year, is trying to dedicate to a couple of particular leagues and stick with them. Because, there is definite burnout if you don't have subs and people to take the brunt, because as we mentioned before, it's a lot faster gameplay now, I feel, and bodies are getting hurt, and you're at a comp all day on a Sunday, and if you're playing 3 or 4 different leagues, that's every Sunday that you're doing something.
Absolute killer.
It definitely comes about, but the passion's there for us, so a lot of times we live for it.
You see, that's what I seem to remember about Guerrilla Blasters was one of the first fields that I played at.
Same for us.
And what I really liked about that is the slops used to go out once a month. So we would be happy to commit a full day once a month because you're catching up with your mates for that one time each month. You really enjoy it, you're really pumped, and then you spend the whole next month getting ready for that one. But now it's like every weekend there's a comp. Sometimes during the week there's a comp, and must get hard to manage as a team.
I end up messaging these guys, I think, once a week. What's going on? Where are we supposed to be this weekend? Is it SSA? Is it Gel City? Oh, is hardcore on the Wednesday, or is it 3v3? It's I don't know, it's getting up there. It's still kind of manageable, but we'll see.
I'm loving that grip you've got on the
I know.
mic.
I'm trying to stop myself from tapping. Cause
like you're about to start singing a solo or something.
We have a joke, and a couple of my mates, if they ever watch this, will get it, and it's 2 hands on the mic. And you've got that, mate. Look at you go.
I have fidget.
I love it.
Every time, so I'm trying not to tap.
No. But look, let's talk about teams. So obviously I know that there's been some things happen within Valhalla, but I'm not going to get into that. More want to step back, look high level. In the industry, I've noticed across multiple teams, all the teams tend to go through a period where there's drama, there's change, and growth, and then everything continues. And what I have noticed over the years is the group of players who started in Gel Ball, it's very different now to the group who is currently playing. How do you guys find, have you had much transition with the exception of things that recently happened with you guys? Have there been different stages of transitions for you guys with the team adjusting and adapting, transforming?
Training's going to be a big thing for us. We went through a spate where we trained minimum once a month. But now there's teams that are training every week. So next year we're going to put a lot of emphasis into that. Take a step back from a couple of different leagues, and focus on training and maintaining at the top level of those competitions. If we do look to grow in numbers again, then we might dedicate particular people to particular leagues. To avoid the burnout, to stay relevant in that league, and so forth. But as we mentioned before, the youth is coming into the sport as well, which is really driving pace. durability and pop culture kind of style stuff, patches and all that kind of stuff that we're a little bit behind the times in. We we like shooting people, yelling at each other and stuff like that. So,
awesome. And you know, like what I'm noticing more and more, especially in the speedsoft side of gel ball, is identity seems to be key. And I know that the slop raiders went through several periods, like several changes over the years. But I know one of the biggest ones was always, what are we as a team? Are we a casual team who just enjoys going out to the fields and catching up with mates? Are we a competitive team? And what I found was the team sort of, you generally had this split down the middle where some of the players were keen to get in there, put in all the extra effort and hours to train. Some of the team didn't want to do that. It's not a bad thing. They didn't want to do that. They just wanted to enjoy the game. And I think that was the hardest part within the slop raiders. But when you look across all the different teams in the industry, do you sort of find the same sort of thing where you've got players who want to just enjoy the sport and then you've got players who just want to stop at nothing and be as competitive as possible? Or?
I think that was definitely us as well. But there is other teams exactly like that. But that's where the keepers and the protectors were. As the protectors enjoyed the day. Enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the camaraderie of it all. But the keepers have sat down on numerous times and said, we just want to win. We want to be the best. We want to beat people fairly and be the best.
And, you know, and for those of you who are listening and watching on, I think an important thing to note here is either way, regardless of what kind of player you are, that's fine. You know what I mean?
100%.
And, you know, I think the fact that you have competitive players competing in competitive leagues makes the league more exciting. But then
it's entertaining to watch.
Exactly. But then, you know, also I think where you have your casual nights and your casual leagues, they're just as important as well, because then you also have the social aspect where people are just enjoying going out and having fun. And I think both sides are really cool. I've seen both sides. I've watched you guys and absolutely loved watching the gameplay. I love watching the slops. Every team I've had anything to do with, absolutely love watching them. And it's like you're watching a horse race or something and all your money's on the team. You know, it's so much fun.
And that's something we'll look at next year as well, is because we've jumped into every league that we can find and try to be dominant or up there with the dominant teams in those leagues. We've fallen away from just going to the casual matches and having a bit of fun. Tristan gets there a bit.
I mean, I'm still fairly new to the whole sport. I played my first social game ever with these guys. Was it last month?
Oh, where at?
Gel City.
Oh yeah.
That was my first ever. That wasn't Speed QB. I go to the Thursday night scrims as often as I can. But my first ever social game was with these guys, and it was. I've never been shot by my teammates more.
Teammates or just Dale?
Just the keepers. No matter where I was. Everyone else is playing the game, and like the second someone saw a keeper's jersey or like my gun or whoever, it's just like a stream of bullets hitting you from all sides. Like, holy crap.
It's funny, because I remember, there was a point with the slop raiders where I speared away and stopped playing to concentrate on building Ausgel. And so I was heading out to competitions with them. I wasn't playing, but I was there supporting them, taking pictures and just doing whatever I could, providing the gels as you'd expect. But then on the team, you also had these divisions where some players were super competitive and some didn't want to be. And I remember we got to a point where we all just said, hey, let's try and bring this back to the old days. And we had like a social day at Mango Hill. And we used the little laser skirmish field out the front, and it was like a game of statues or something. And I remember the idea was everyone just had to split at the start, and then basically one person was like the wild card who had to shoot everyone else. And if they shot you, you just had to stand still where you were until the end of the game. Oh, so much fun. You know what I mean?
We did one recently. It was before Tristan's time. Gel City's getting a huge rap out of us today. But I don't know.
Hey, Gel City.
It was cool.
I don't know what they call the game mode, but basically, if you get shot by the opposing team, you're dead, but you're in that spot. You're dead, and the only way to revive is to get a teammate of yours to shoot you.
Oh no!
So if you get caught out in the open, you look for support from your teammate. He shoots you, and it's full auto. And then the enemy shoots you, so you're just constantly getting shot. You've got to pick and choose. So Sam got caught in a spot.
Sounds funny to watch.
Yeah, and it is to watch. Because I tucked down into cover and Sam English was out in the open. He's put his hand up, so I'm shooting him, and then someone else is shooting him, and by the end of it, he was riddled. So it's so much fun. Shooting your mates, highly recommend.
Awesome. Awesome. So looking at what's out there in the industry now as far as gel blasters are concerned, we've also seen a lot of progression there because, you know, when I started, I think my very first blaster was a Terminator V1, which is super old school. And then I stepped up to an M4A1 Gen 8. And I just thought, you know, I was the king of that game because I was one of the only people with one.
Yep.
Nowadays, that's old school. What is everyone running around with now at the fields competitively?
Everything's custom. Yeah. I don't think there's too many things that are just bought from a store. There'll be bits and pieces built from different sponsors. Most teams now have got a tech that builds a lot of stuff for them. We've been fortunate over the last couple of months of winning certain comps. The prizes have been blaster bits and stuff. So shout out to our sponsor, Extinction Performance. They've built
hey guys
a lot of our guns. I know Tristan gets done by Gel Ball Mechanics. Father and son team there. So
nice.
Our receivers are from GBU. We won it season 2, prize at Hardcore, Kathy. So that's a few of us have got those builds. Pistols are becoming more and more popular now with the M4 adapters. I think they're going to take over, follow overseas. They're so nimble. We played
with HPA adapters on the back.
150 gels instead of 12 or something.
Nice.
And the speed that brings to the game as well is ever increasing, but so much fun as well. You can use it in CQB, you can use it in Speed QB. Amazing.
For me, recently I've been playing a fair bit of Snake, and it's like the second there's a guy with a pistol, it makes it so much harder because they can tuck into such a small little area. And it's so nimble to come in and out. I've got an ARP-9, which is it's small enough. It's not a huge gun, and you go up against guys with pistols, and the target you're trying to shoot at's barely 10 meters wide, and
which can be difficult to hit with a gel blaster.
What size was that? Can you just get?
It's 100 mil, 10 mil, 10 centimeters.
Okay, what are we actually measuring here, guys?
That's exactly where I was getting at there. Good one, Tristan.
That's big though, right?
Sure.
On a good day when it's warm.
I love it.
I'm a girl, not a shower, man. Stop bullying me.
Media guy behind the camera's having a bit of a giggle now. Love it. All right.
But we came in, so Justin Shrapnel on the Keepners, he and I were the first ones to go out and run in the field, and I think we did hardcore together. And he ended up buying a Gen 8 from there. And then from then on, we've just progressed and progressed. We were slow to get onto the HPA train, but now that we're on, we wouldn't go anywhere else. We recommended to Tristan to skip all of our mistakes and go straight to HPA.
Nathan from Keepers, he goes, you got me into it. And I was messaging him for days and days, and I was like, what should I buy? So I ended up buying a HK 416D, I think.
One of the LGT War Interest ones?
No, Tech Edge.
Oh, nice.
Classic
Excellent.
Army.
Yeah, good stuff. Nice.
Which I thought it was amazing. I put a MOSFET in it. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. And then these guys sitting there the whole time just like, stop spending money, just buy a bloody HPA. I'm like, I'll just put the MOSFET in. I'm happy with it, la la la. And I think I borrowed Hilly's HPA, shot 5 rounds, went, God damn it, I need a HPA.
Yeah. I mean, the first time you pull the trigger on a HPA blaster,
just the response.
And there's just no recoil at all. And you're just seeing rounds launching really quickly. You're like, oh.
I stubbornly argued the case back and forward. I ended up, my main gun at the start was a Raptor, again from Tac Edge. And I liked the recoil feel. I liked the pressure of the trigger and the clunk and stuff. So as people are all going HPA, I was sticking with mine saying, no, this feels realistic.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, I had to use somebody's at a comp. AG went down.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back.
Yeah.
The Raptor sits in its stand in my spare room with all the trophies and medals.
Yeah.
Nice.
And,
Tickets.
Little
and
flex there.
yeah, it doesn't get used. So
Yeah, that's gold. But that competitive nature there, though, something that I found interesting when I got to know a few more of the keepers was a few of you were involved in like sponsored sports outside of this beforehand, weren't you? Because what sort of sports?
all different variants, I guess. A couple of the guys are soccer hooligans,
Yep.
which I actually hate and trash all the time. Because some of them are starting to get injuries from playing soccer. Like Hilly plays 2 games of soccer a week.
Yeah.
And Joe Blast. So we'll cover that
right.
next year. Thanks, Justin. See you later, mate.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Fighting.
Yeah.
Tristan's
Fighting as
fought. I fought.
What were you into MMA or boxing or
For me, it was Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu.
Muay Thai Jiu-Jitsu? Yeah.
I've done a mixture: MMA,
Yep.
boxing, Muay Thai. All back in Rockhampton.
Yep.
Shout Fitzroy Martial Arts, Brenton.
Hey guys.
Brant and Brenton helped me out a lot there. I was sponsored by their gym there.
Nice.
So that was really good.
You're saying footy as well, I think? Isn't that another one?
Back in the day, rugby league. Hilly played rugby league as well. Corey, rugby league. So it's always been sports.
I did union and tennis, and like I've done just about everything under the sun.
Tennis.
I was,
Dainty hands,
picked
mate.
up,
How does that work?
picked up by the French Tennis Association when I was 10. Put into their full program. So
Oh, wow.
that was an experience. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I was competing 10 to 12 or 13 years old.
Jeez.
Training 4 days a week, my own personal PT. It was insane. Like,
You see, I find that really interesting because, like, you hear stuff like that, you know, and this is the caliber of the people that are playing on competitive teams now. And, you know, and I personally find that exciting for gel ball as a sport because it just shows that the level of competition is only getting better and better. And what I actually worry about is when you get Olympic athlete level people starting to join gel ball. I just sort of go, okay, well, you know, that's when you know it's getting real. You know, it's,
And some of the teams are starting to get coaches on board and stuff
Yeah.
now.
Wow.
And I think we're probably at that stage if anybody wants to get in contact.
There you go.
Please.
Because I think
Coaching
people
position up for grabs.
We need someone else to yell at Dale.
Yep.
Stay on the buddy pillar. Stop running down.
Yeah.
Barreling people over. Sorry, Outcast.
Love it.
If you rewatch that.
That won't be on any lives. Shout out Real Strike.
out already.
Thanks for keeping our secrets. Real Strike.
No, I love it.
But it is, and that's outside of Tristan. Most of us were originally mates and just looking for something to do. Continue to talk. That we just didn't have the motivation to go and train 4 or 5 days a week to be a fighter, or you didn't really know anybody in your footy team anymore because down here it's so spread apart. So it was just a couple of mates. That's how we started, was going and playing casual matches. And it evolved from there, and obviously the different conversations had along the way is, do we want to be competitive? Are we good enough? And thankfully our natures were that we are competitive.
And it's worked.
Yeah, fortunate enough to Nathan had brought Tristan along, and he just fits in so well with us, which is that competitive thing. We want to win. But there's a difference between wanting to win at all costs and wanting to win the right way. And I think we've got that mentality, and I try and instill that throughout the team.
I think my biggest, like when I came on, I'm fairly quiet person, fairly reserved, and it's like when I came in.
I couldn't hear you. What did you say?
I'm fairly quiet.
I'm a very quiet person.
I like how you got real close to the mic then. I was waiting.
I'm telling secrets right now. But I mean, I'm very competitive, but I like if I'm going to win, I want to do it right, and it needs to be kind of on point. And like when I first came in, it's like everyone was talking absolute shit because it was a training session at Gel City, and I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. We'll see what's going on. But the second it was the countdown ended and we broke off the wall, it's all game on. It's like, oh, okay, you can get with this. These guys went like second you're off the field, it's all laughs, it's all jokes,
Yeah.
it's all talk as much shit as we can. Still cop abuse for just about everything I do.
You're the newest one.
I know, I'm the newest guy. There's a couple of photos of me getting mate from Hell
I think that's the most
jumping
important
over
thing,
me.
though.
Oh,
You know, that
what happened there?
Oh, sorry.
What happened? Did that go around socials?
Yeah, I mean, twice.
Sounds like a
I've
bit
got
of a
two
story.
Photos.
We give Tristan a bit of grief, but Christopher Lark, you did the jump shot on Mr. Tristan.
Yeah. Thank
Good
you.
shot. Good job. Gave us some
Brilliant.
ammo to pick on him in our own
Nice.
team chat.
Still going. Thanks, buddy.
Well, you know, it's one of the things I like about, you know, the culture of the community at the moment, because there was a bit of a period where there was a lot of toxicity, I think, where people would take stuff that was happening on the field off the field. The stuff that I didn't like seeing was when people were putting videos up trying to call out other people and trying to push them publicly. That stuff, I think, it doesn't really do anything for the community. But the fact that people are sort of like this now, where you can have your on-field stuff, but as soon as you're off the field under the marquees, you know, everyone's friendly, everyone's talking like mates. You're always going to have the banter in the background in team chats where they're going, oh, did you see that cheat on that? But, you know, that's generally kept quite discreet. But you get that, you know, trust me, I've been involved in a lot of teams now. Every team does it. You know, it's human nature. But I think the most important thing is, you know, when you're at the events, you represent your team well, and your sponsors, of course, and then, you know, and you just get along. You know, that's what it's all
I think
about.
the thing that keeps popping up is you win some, you lose some.
Yep. Exactly.
Everyone's got this super focus on refs having to be perfectionists and never get anything wrong, and just unfortunately that's never going to be the case. So we try to say as much as we can, it is what it is. Sometimes we're going to get bad calls against us that aren't fair or whatever, and you just got to cop them on the chin and
that's it.
And
it happens in all sports as well.
100%.
I mean, how many NRL games have you watched where there's been a bad call?
Penrith the other day with Cleary bringing the kick in 10 metres when it was scored on the post. So it happens everywhere. And if refs were perfect, then players should be perfect, and we'd never get hit by anything. So
well, here you go.
It is what it is.
So this is being recorded well in advance. So by the time this airs, everyone watching and listening is already going to know the answer. Bunnies or the Panthers? Call it. I want to hear your predictions.
You don't watch
This is the NRL Grand Final, guys. Well,
Melbourne
that's good because
Storm,
now you
because
can
they
just
got
take
jigged in the
random
semis.
stab.
Bunnies or Panthers?
Yep.
I got bunnies. Bunnies.
Bunnies, yeah.
Cleary's playing unreal. He's leading them well this season, but
And the Bunnies actually came out and played gel ball.
they did too. Good job, boys. Thanks.
So
for the
take note of
invite.
that, Panthers. I hope you don't win. I hope you haven't won, I mean.
Back the Panthers because I can't side with Dale all the time. His head just gets too big.
Love it. All right, well, this will be something for you to settle anyway. Do you reckon there's going to be a beer in this?
There's always. Well, I don't drink beer, but there'll be a drink.
There'll be a drink
Or
in it.
some,
All right.
some severe ridicule somewhere.
So just remember, we're going to come back to this when this airs in about probably 4 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, you're going to see it then. All right, awesome. Well, guys, thank you very much for making the adventure up here.
No worries.
And I really, truly hope you enjoy the peak hour traffic on your way back.
Cheers.
So, but look, tell us a little bit more about how the audience and listeners can find you guys on social media.
You can go, mate.
Oh, you don't know?
No, I'm trying
okay,
to
cool.
figure one out.
Yeah.
Each player, Instagram, by their call sign. So Jgrnaut, Sarix, Shrapnel, Fenrir, and Iceman.
Don't miss anyone.
Cyber.
Yes,
Cyber
Cyber.
would absolutely lose it.
Prospect.
He's prospect. Searching by prospect if you can't find him. He's got the biggest support out of all of us with his kids.
Tribe.
So they make us look famous in the comment sections of anything. But at Valhalla Keepers is the main one.
VK_ any of us, Sarix.
Awesome. All right. Thanks again, gents. And guys, as always, I'm Dan from Ausgel. You can find Ausgel at www.ausgel.com.au. Across all the socials as Ausgel and on Instagram at OsgelAmmo. Thanks very much for watching. See you later.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning into our podcast. It means a lot to us. If you enjoyed today's podcast, leave a comment or review below and hit the follow or subscribe button. If you have any questions or want to be part of a future episode or even want to know more about Ausgel, head to ausgel.com.au to get in touch.